You've hit a 400-day streak on your language app. You know how to conjugate verbs, you know your colors, and your screen is full of green check marks. But the moment you slide into a taxi and the driver asks you a question at full speed, going entirely off script, you completely freeze. It happens all the time. The reason is simple. Completing a general language curriculum on your phone and actually functioning in a specific foreign city are two entirely different milestones. To be fair, mass market language apps solve a very real problem. If you are starting from zero, they get you past the blank page. They build a daily habit and introduce basic grammar so you understand that sentence structures change across borders. This funnel chart shows the reality of that progress. We see millions of users maintaining impressive 100-plus day streaks at the top, but that number drops to a tiny fraction of people at the bottom who can actually complete an unscripted 2-minute transaction in the real world. The drop-off happens by design. Gamified apps are architecturally built to maximize daily active users. They optimize for retention. You, on the other hand, are optimizing for situational survival in a new neighborhood. To see what actual fluency training looks like, we have to look past consumer software and examine how governments train diplomats and military personnel. At the Defense Language Institute, the focus isn't user retention, but operational capability. They have strict timelines to produce working fluency for complex environments. The Foreign Service Institute operates under a similar mandate. They are the benchmark for rapid, dialect-specific language acquisition. These institutional programs do not teach general language exposure. They strip away broad vocabulary and replace it with rigorous, highly localized training meant for a specific destination. When you compare the constraints of mass market gamification with the proven methods of institutional training, three distinct differences emerge that explain why you might be stuck. Let's ground this in a specific geography to see how both methods hold up. We'll use Mexico City as our test case. Mass market apps have to serve millions of global users from a single course tree. They teach a pan-Latin vocabulary that is technically correct everywhere, but specifically useful nowhere. The app will teach you the word autobús, but if you are navigating Mexico City, locals call the buses camiones. It will teach you that tomate is tomato, but here in local markets, tomate gets you a green tomatillo. The red tomato you actually want is a jitomate. The institutional alternative solves this by scoping the curriculum exclusively to the location the learner is deploying to. You don't learn Spanish, you learn Mexico City Spanish. Using generic vocabulary in a highly specific cultural center marks you immediately as an outsider. It prompts cashiers to slow down, simplify their language, or just switch entirely to English. Next is how you are tested. Gamified apps rely on low-pressure multiple-choice scenarios designed to be completed in 5-minute mobile sessions. This builds a psychological skill called passive recognition. You learn to spot the correct word when it is sitting right next to 3 incorrect answers. Real life demands a completely different skill, high-friction retrieval. When a local speaks rapidly, goes off script, and requires an immediate conjugated response before the traffic light turns green, there is no multiple-choice menu to save you. You have to retrieve the right word instantly. This comparison matrix tracks the structural differences. Under mass market apps, we see generic vocabulary and passive recognition. Under institutional methods, we see local dialect and active retrieval. Streak mechanics are great for habit formation, but they actively starve your brain of the sustained, high-friction effort needed to train rapid recall. The final factor is the feedback loop. Gamified apps grade pronunciation using basic speech-to-text algorithms that accept approximate sound matches. You can sound highly foreign and still get a passing grade. As you progress through hundreds of lessons receiving positive reinforcement for incorrect sounds, you confidently calcify bad habits. This triggers what we can call the foreign alarm. It's the moment a heavy accent causes a local to instantly alter their behavior, locking you out of an authentic interaction. Institutional programs treat pronunciation differently. They mandate strict correction from the first session, catching errors before they become permanent. Looking back at our matrix, we can fill in the final row. Mass market apps provide approximate matches, while institutional methods demand strict correction. Confidence built on approximate pronunciation limits your ability to culturally integrate. You end up experiencing a completely different version of the city than the locals do. The takeaway here isn't to delete your gamified apps. It's to align the tool you're using with the actual objective you want to achieve. If you fit the habit builder profile, meaning you are starting from zero, studying casually, and need broad exposure to basic grammar, stick with the mass market apps. But if you fit the relocator profile, meaning you are moving to or spending significant time in a specific city, you require situational integration. This scorecard lays it out. The habit builder needs low-friction streaks and general rules. The relocator needs local slang, strict accent scoring, and situational rehearsal. You cannot use a low-friction habit builder to achieve hyper-local fluency. The mechanics simply don't support it. For the relocator profile, Street Tongue serves as the consumer bridge to this institutional methodology. It is built entirely around localized high-friction training. Instead of teaching you Pan-Latin Spanish, it teaches you the exact phrases and slang used right now on the streets of Mexico City. It uses custom AI scenarios, like negotiating at a mercado or answering intake questions at a pharmacy, to simulate unscripted conversations. You train retrieval under pressure, exactly as you will need it. And it uses strict pronunciation scoring, forcing you to adjust your accent so you don't trigger the foreign alarm when you order your food. If you are ready to train for the actual city you are standing in, you can download Street Tongue using the App Store link in the description below. Before you go, let me know in the comments, what is one hyper-local slang word that completely threw you off the first time you traveled? Real fluency isn't measured by a digital streak. It's measured by your ability to speak the specific language of the street you are standing on. Choose your tools accordingly.